Good morning, dear, and welcome back. So today, as we agreed, we'll discuss about ChatGPT. And before that, of course, ChatGPT is is from a group of generative pre-trained transformer model. And you know that OpenAI's ambitious project was to learn the language by creating a model, and they were trying to do it by introducing GPT N series. That means generative pre-trained transformer 1, 2, 3, and we are all expecting that 4 will come, but instead, in the form of Chat GPT 3.5 model came in November 30th last year. And after that, lots of excitement in the technology world, especially AI or artificial intelligence world, is happening. And we are trying to discuss something, what is going to happen, what is ChatGPT, and how it can influence the new startups and AI companies in general. What will be the future of the so-called programmer? All kind of thing we should touch upon in my lecture. But I can warn you that whatever we are talking, it may be wrong. The way uh, the um, invention-driven technology is moving forward, which has been fueled um, by ChatGPT. So before going into some technology detail, we should know that how our human brain learns a language. Because just like a massive neural network, artificial neural network, our brain, of course, you cannot compare the complexity of our brain has. Brain is a massive um, computational network having some 100 billions of neuron, 1 trillion interconnections. That is what we have. On the other hand, many animals, they are born knowing already some basic sounds for communication. Okay, but human, they spend several months to learn a language. And study shows even the newborn, when she is in the mother's womb, he started understanding several sounds, which afterwards she can connect in the form of a language. And really interesting in this, of course, in this context, um, our great mythology, Mahabharata, also talks about a story which amazingly proves that when a baby is inside mother's womb, she or he can learn. The story goes like this. Arjuna, the great warrior, he knows all the trick of the war. And there was a strategic uh, war technique known as Chakrabuha. If somebody creates a Chakrabuha, it's very difficult to penetrate and destroy it. So he knew, and he was telling in the form of story to his wife Subhadra, who was at that time carrying his son Abhimanyu in her home. So while he was discussing how to penetrate the Chakrabuha, she was mm, listening, but uh, when he was discussing the technique how to come out of it, she fell asleep, and as a result of that, the baby in the womb also fell asleep, and he could not know how to come out of the Chakravuha, but he could only know how to enter or penetrate the Chakravuha. And then it happened that he penetrated the Chakravuha, and others could not accompany him. He was nearly a boy of 14 years, and then he could not come out of it. And that's a very cruel, sad part of the story. But I am just referring it to tell you the fact that even we recognized in the mythology that baby in the womb can learn languages. Okay, and here is what is happening in our brain. So these are full of neurons, as I was telling, 100 billion, some 100 billions, and 1 trillion interconnection. You see, here is called Broca's area. Here is Vernex's area. Okay, these are after the name of the person who discovered it. Okay, and Vernacarea has been proved to be involved in language apprehending, understanding, and this part is actually um, taking care of the speech form of the language generation. So first, this has to be trained, and whenever you learn any language, when in my adulthood I learned another foreign language, I knew before speaking, you first understand, and that is actually what is the role of Wernick area. And of course, there is a communication between these two, understanding and then generating mechanism, generating and understanding mechanism. So this is in coordination with this. When it works, then only you can um, try to speak a learn a language and then start speaking. So these are all very complicated thing, not well understood, of course, in human being. But in case of GPT, it is very well understood. Okay, so this is a called transformer model. Okay, now the name implies it's a pre-trained transformer model. Transformer model works on mathematical techniques known as self-attention or attention actually. Mm. So it is a neural network that learns context by relating three matrices Q, K, and V, and thus meaning by tracking relationships in the sequential data like the words in a sentence. You see, this is called sequential data. Here is a sentence: he is flying a big purple kite. Here, if you just try to synthesis in the form of Q, K, and V, each word will have some attention. Here, the strong attention is between flying, he is flying a kite. That is most important. Okay. So we call strong self attention. Compared to what is a big kite or small kite, this is called um, weak self attention. Weak self-attention. And how each word's value is computed based on its attention is a technique which has been described in this paper one seminal paper. I will introduce you. Is mass reading for my all students, those who will do project um, in language learning, and two also. These are the two references which you should study. And then, of course, you should to learn by doing it that how a transformer model works. You can actually um, refer reference number 4. You see, transformer is a neural network model having self-attention. We told you, right? And by virtue of its self-attention, it replaces by performance. It replaces with all earlier LSTM or other RNN model like GLU and all. Okay. Why? Because those models also had attention, but um, they use attention between encoder and decoder. Okay, but transformer within encoder and decoder use self-attention. Don't worry about that. What is not very complicated if you read that paper. Okay. And this is the paper actually. This original seminal paper was developed by Ashish Vaswani and his team in Google Brain in way back 2017. And after 2 3 years, it draws attention and became a very hot research topic among the NLP community. So this is in short. I will this sketch you will see in the paper. Just I will tell you. So suppose there are this GPT architecture, which is a language translator model. Suppose, of course, so far from English to German, English to French. This kind of translation has taken place already, as far as my knowledge goes. But basically, they will, if you have data and if you can train the model, they can do any language translation. Say, input could be my English and output could be my Bengali. So what we'll have to do, we'll have to have um, massive training data. For example, I am eating rice. আমি ভাত খাচ্ছি in Bengali. I am flying a kite. আমি ঘুড়ি ওড়াচ্ছি. All kind of data you should have to train such models. And this um, uh, paper discussed the technique of how to mathematically represent in the form of neural networks. And here it is actually whatever input you have, input embedding in the form of matrix has to take place. And then this is positional encoding, means each word has to be has some positional value and in the encoded form. That is the technique which has been how is to do it mathematically has been discussed in the 1 and 2 references which I have given, which is marked reading for you. And then this is the unique thing, multi-headed attention. Okay, so this is new about the transformer model. And so, and then it's a feed-forward network, and then this is actually is going feeded to another network. Say it is Bengali. So this is English, and this is output will be Bengali, right? If you put English in as an input, output will be Bengali. It is the scenario. So this is the um, um, this is actually the Bengali architecture, the language architecture was again it has output embedding and then similar. Okay, mask, multi-headed attention, Y marked and all detailed there. So basically, you see, whenever you try to translate one language to another language, you unknowingly, our brain unknowingly creates another language, imaginary language. First, that is the meaning of encoding. That's my uh, one language is encoded there, where the other translated language can the information can be shared. So it's a common space, latent space we call that actually needed to be created, and through the training learning process that is created. Okay, and this is all very simple but elegant mathematical representation. What you are seeing in a schematic diagram can be obtained in the reference one. Now let us, so we are talking about GPT series of language model. We'll try to tell you here, GPT-1 in 2018, June 11, it was released by OpenAI. It was open source, 150 million parameters. GPT-2, 1.5 billion parameters, launched on February 14, 2019. It's 10 times as bigger than the earlier one, open source. So it justifies the name of OpenAI. GPT-3, 1.175 billion parameters trained on 570 gigabytes of text. It's a massive data because so many parameters. More parameters, you need more data. Otherwise, there will be, overfitting. So it is almost 100 times bigger, launched on June 11, 2020, not open source. And now Chat GPT with 1.5 billion trainable parameter, much slim compared to GPT-3. But again, GPT-3 is a general language model, whereas Chat GPT is a conversational language model having 1.5 billion trainable parameters. And we are all expecting maybe GPT-4 will be released this year. People say it should have 100 trillion parameters. So more parameters means more generalization because more parameters means more smart language understanding, translation, all kind of thing can happen. But today we will focus on this model, Chat GPT, for a specific purpose. This has been developed and it has created lot of enthusiasm among the technology. and they are rightly so because it has that potential and it can change the way automation takes place in future. It can do many things like writing and debugging codes, writing and debugging codes. Okay, copy copywriting, that means writing essays, blog posts, opinion pieces. Then it can create websites, newsletters. Then it can write your resume and cover letters. Right? Amazing, isn't it? Then it can summarize the text if you have a bigger text. So an intelligent agent, whatever it requires to have, almost it has everything. It can even write jokes, songs, poems. So lot of um, attention it is actually drawing among these researchers. And rightly so, because you see, mm, what also has happened, it's a little bit amazing. People thought that Google is a company which innovates, but nowadays, of course, many of my students were telling the other way around that it is becoming bulky company, the innovation is taking a backseat. So it was supposed to um, develop language models long before, but it was holding it due to whatever reason, perfection is not there or what kind of thing. And that's why OpenAI came into the picture, and then they developed ChatGPT. And very surprisingly, Microsoft Bing has used ChatGPT on top of it, means on top of the search engine. So momentarily, Bing, I don't know how many of you use Bing. I tried. It is for a while it is there, but I think very few people use it, right? So it had really education crisis, but somehow Microsoft, which is not very known for its innovation, um, has been quickly on top of the subject. And people may say, people say who are using it that it is you can just make conversation easily, and narrowing down your search becomes easy with some up-to-date information references and all. So after seeing all this, it has also technological ramification. The competitor Google now just um, spending $300 million to a company which is formed by the um, the former researchers from OpenAI, the Anthropic. Name of the company is Anthropic. They are now. So this is competition. Now Google thinks that it is late, already late, and they should do something. And maybe in future, ChatGPT will take. And after all, you see, the GPT was developed in Google Brain, the seminal paper. Right? So this chat GPT, which is a transformer model, are doing all kind of things, capable of doing all kind of things. And each of them, if done perfectly, can take our product, AI-based product, to a new level, isn't it? You see, writing debugging code. Um, you see, I was trying um, to write prompt, and I am not a prompt expert, of course, but I was trying to write from November mm, by asking questions. And many of my students, maybe you also uh, can write smart prompting to crank out results. So I was trying to also do that, and ChatGPT was giving me some answers. Sometimes the answers were relevant, quite logical, and then sometimes the answers were not so logical. I will just show from the output. I made a account there itself and November itself, and then I started testing it. ChatGPT, and many interesting funny things were happening. Interesting things were happening. It can, it's somewhere down the line, um, it can be made perfect in writing essays, blog posts, opinion essays. Then it will mm, it will be used for developing many um, AI-based products, and automation can reach a new level. However, at present, there are some limitations which we observe. You can also see, okay, so ChatGPT sometimes writes feasible but very incorrect and nonsensical answer regarding me. It has written something which is relevant and which is ChatGPT is also sensitive to prompting to do input setting. Um, so this is very important. How you develop the prompt, response will be accordingly. Okay. Sometimes it quite often worries a certain phrase and use them again and again. And so these are the things which uh, are the limitations of the ChatGPT today. And also complex conversational scenarios it cannot handle at present, as you know. However, whatever it has created, there is now new opportunities for AI startup. So, especially in India, where even if you now start off thinking your startup activities with minimal investment. Okay. So what you can do, lot of activities actually going on, and what you can do only our future next future few days or 2 months future will tell that how many good products, AI-based products are being created because possibilities are there. Almost, you see, as I told you, that ChatGPT, although it's not free, but it's not open source, but they have created a lot of APIs. And through the APIs, you can actually talk to ChatGPT and you can create your um, desired um, outputs. And you see, um, which ChatGPT not in open source. There are some tweets I was just few days back I was reading. Uh, Tweet was done by the CEO of the company itself, that's Elon Musk. He was telling that he gave the name of OpenAI, assuming that it should be a company which should make everything open source. But as far as ChatGPT is concerned, and GPT is concerned, it is becoming a company with everything closed, and then with Microsoft, it is aspiring to be a profitable company. Earlier goal was it should be a non-profit company. So anything, all these emotional issues are there. However, right now, whatever available you can do through APIs only, you can um, interact with the massive pre-trained model. Pre-trained model has given you lots of advantages. You know that training has been done using natural language, for example. However, the same model can be used for different other purpose. Your purpose it can solve. So you have the option, right? Whether to you have if you have massive data resource, you can develop another gigantic model. Okay, starting from the scratch, or you can use prompt to um, to get already output from an already pre-trained model. And through this prompt, you can write codes, you can write program to develop your own product. Okay. So choice is yours. I think people will try to write a prompt, or maybe they will use the pre-training model for further training. And as long as, um, say, if you have a startup in a particular domain, as long as if you have, so earlier requirement was massive data, right? If you want to create your own model from scratch. Now, as long as your data distribution is comparable to the data distribution with the help of which the Chat GPT has been trained. If that is the case, then even with um, small data, comparatively small data, you can crank out using APIs, you can crank out output. And in your domain, it is analogous to, you see, if I just talk about a human child learns a language, then you can train the same individual to become an artist, to become a doctor or an engineer or computer scientist. So everything you can do. Okay. So this is massive um, advantages which you can take, even if it is not open source. Through APIs, you can interact with this beautiful model. And that is going to happen in future, of course. Even if in India you do not have massive funding, all kind of things, even with microfinancing, if you have ideas, you can use ChatGPT APIs and produce output. And um, the role of programmers here, I think is going to change also in future. The scenario before ChatGPT was, if you want to develop a really cool, smart product, then you require very complicated programming. You require complicated programming, scale, complicated design. All this is going to change. Why? Because already a complicated pre-trained model is there. So either using prompt, you can generate a lot of outputs, or you can, if you have uh, second option, of course, is not, nobody's going to take ChatGPT is already there. So what you will do, you will create prompts, and already it may happen in future that prompt engineer with some programming skill will be in demand. So creating prompt, produce result, collect those results, and develop your product, AI-based product using not so complicated program. I think that is going to be the future of post ChatGPT. And these are the references I was telling all my students must. So we'll discuss this paper in the class also in detail, but you must know this. This is also, and this is, the sequential model. Once you read these two, and this sequential model, you should know by doing it how transformer model actually works. Okay, and this also is a good um, reference which I have given. So, in short, so in the industry, of course, giant industry like Microsoft, Google, okay, with ChatGPT, they can do many fantastic, uh, they can release fantastic products. We can see the world is taking a very intelligent uh, product word in Microsoft Office, which we all use, many of us use. At least we use um, much people bigger than those who use Bing. And all on a sudden, Bing together with uh, ChatGPT, some form of ChatGPT, can of course create attention from the people. Google have to also now take care that if they are slow in responding, they may be out in this revolutionary thing which started from there. So lots of things are going to happen. And what I try to tell you um, are some mm, my story or fact, which may be also not true. But if it is true, but logical, so it could be true that new opportunities for AI startup will be created. New paradigm of programming will be seen in the future. I strongly believe these are going to happen. With this, um, I will show you ChatGPT output. But my interactions with the ChatGPT world. So here is, I asked ChatGPT to write an essay about what the decision on the like lava. So this is what he wrote. Seer wrote, that agent wrote. So the decision on the is a well-known academician and blah blah researcher. He is currently the professor in the Indian Institute of Information Technology, Allahabad. He has made significant contribution. These are fantastic. However, here it failed. Is a bachelor's and master's degree from Jadavpur University, a PhD from Khartoum. So these are not the facts. You see, many things it wrote correctly, many things it wrote incorrectly. And of course, with the massive involvement of the people, these things are going to change. And I believe that future it will be smarter and smarter, and all the aspirations which we have as a technologies, especially AI technologies, some aspiration will be fulfilled with GPT 3.5 or ChatGPT. With this, I conclude and thank you for your attention, and come to the discussion forum and pay attention in the classes where we can discuss more, and you can, to be a prompt engineer, we can give you lots of class projects. Have a nice day.